What's up guys, it's Rob, hope you're doing good. Today I want to talk about Yngwie Malmsteen, a guy who needs absolutely no introduction. I want to say that I was around 16, 17 years old when I got into Yngwie's playing, and before that my playing was quite boring. I used to just play a lot of simple pentatonic stuff, didn't really travel about the neck much, pretty much just lived in pentatonic box 1, the one that everybody learns at first, and that's where I stayed for quite a long time. And then when I discovered Yngwie's playing, that had quite an impact on my playing. I started to learn more about, rather than just the pentatonic scale, using other scales like the minor scale, the harmonic minor scale, things like sweeping arpeggios and all that sort of stuff. And I really feel that from around age 16 is when my playing really started to lift. I started to get a lot more confident on the guitar, knowing where things were thanks to learning more scales, and it definitely improved things like my speed and my picking technique whilst trying to learn some of his songs and licks. So today I thought I'd go over my top 5 Yngwie Malmsteen style licks which I think really improve my playing. They sound really cool, and if you're into Yngwie's style of playing, then stick around, check this video out, and if you want to learn any of them, then you can follow the tabs on screen. A couple quick things to keep in mind when playing Yngwie stuff or playing in his style is that he used a Fender Stratocaster, so that's what I'm going to use today. He uses a scalloped fretboard, which means the wood in between the frets is curved, which really allows him to get hold of the strings, get right underneath them. It's great for bends and things like that. Also, Yngwie tunes his guitar down a half step, so I've done that today. So rather than being in E standard, I'm in E flat standard. For all of these licks, I'm going to be using my neck pickup. So let's get right into it. Okay, so that was lick number 1, and it's in the key of C minor. And it's a repeating lick, and the scale used rather than normal C minor is C harmonic minor, which is basically just the same as a normal minor scale, but the 7th note of the scale is raised. So essentially it's just a normal natural minor scale with a major 7th note. So a normal C minor scale would sound like this. Whereas a C harmonic minor scale has the raised 7th, which would make it sound like this. And those are all the notes that I'm using in this lick, although I'm starting up here and basically playing the same thing going down an octave each time. So if I play that lick slowly, these are the notes that we have. And the idea is to get used to the shape and use alternate picking where you're picking up and down between every single note. Obviously just then I played it all with down picks just to show you it's slow, but I can play it slow again, and this time around alternate pick every single note. So just get used to that pattern. It's quite simple to remember because it just does the same thing in 3 different octaves going down. And gradually over time just build up your speed and maybe practice it with a metronome, start slow and build it up in tempo. Lick number 2 is a really cool one, and I first heard this lick in an Yngwie Malmsteen song called Vengeance, and it's a 4-note repeating pattern. Every first note changes and the 2nd, 3rd and 4th note are a repeating pattern. I'll play it slowly first and then I'll talk through what that means. So here it is slowly. So here's the first 4 notes, is the 12th fret on the high E. And the 2nd, 3rd and 4th note is the repeating part, which sounds like this. So here's the 4 notes. But then every first note changes and I just keep going back to the 2nd, 3rd and 4th note, repeating that in between every note that I play. So taking away the repeating notes in between, every first note sounds like this. And in between all of those notes you have a repeating pattern which changes as you go down. The notes that repeat change. So the first part sounds like this. When I go to the 15th fret, I actually have to bar both of those strings with the same finger to get the... something to keep in mind. Again, that's another bar on the 13th fret. Here's the third one. And the last one. And that's a bar again on the 10th fret. And for this lick, I'm also using alternate picking. I find that for this lick, it really helps to start on an up pick. Okay, lick number 3 is diving into the world of sweep picking. Yngwie uses sweep picking a lot in his playing. And for this one, I'm doing something that Yngwie does quite a lot, which is a diminished sweep picked arpeggio, which is just a pattern that spans 4 frets, and then you move up 3 frets from your little finger, 1, 2, 3. You play the exact same pattern again, and when you've done that there, you slide it up again 3 frets from your little finger, 1, 2, 3. Play it again there, 1, 2, 3. Play it again there, 1, 2, 3. Play it again there, and I've just put a little bend on the end of it. So slow, here's what lick number 3 sounds like. So the first part is just to pull off 2 notes on the high E string. 1 note on the B string, and then 1 note on the G. But as soon as you hit the note on the G, you want to slide that up to the next position. A bit like this. You play the same pattern again, but this time you're going up through it. And on the top one now, rather than just a pull off, it's a hammer and pull off. And then go back down again the same way. And again, when you get to the G, slide up immediately to the next position and keep repeating. And the aim of this is to be able to sweep through it and glide through each one. Rather than alternate pick every single note, it's just going to be a nice smooth sweeping motion. Ending with that nice little bend. Okay, lick number 4, again, is kind of similar to lick number 2. It's another repeating pattern where the first note just changes, and slowly it sounds like this. And I just ended it with a nice minor arpeggio. And like lick number 2 for this one, I think it's also great to start it on an up pick. So I can play the first note on an up pick and then catch the next one for the repeating pattern straight away on the down pick. I use my first, second and third, and it's actually quite a little bit of a stretch, even though the frets are quite small up here, because my second and third finger are right next to each other on these 2 frets, and then there's a 2 fret gap where my first finger starts, and then my first finger drops down 1 more fret, so in between these notes I've got 3 frets gap there. So it might be easy to play it with your little finger and third finger instead. But I prefer to do it this way. This one's actually quite tricky, so again, take it slow, build it up in speed, but it's got a really nice sound to it, and I really like playing this one. Number 5 is something inspired by one of Yngwie's songs called Baroque and Roll, and slowly it sounds like this. To play this one I did something that Yngwie does quite a lot, where rather than just starting on the first note and playing it straight away like this, he'll slide into it. And then he'll just carry the lick on straight away after the slide. And in the middle of the lick I then actually did another slide. I slid up from the first position into the second position and then ended it with this crazy high 1.5 step bend from the 21st fret. Yngwie uses 8th gauge strings, really thin ones, so that really high bend is probably quite easy on those. I'm using 9s, but if you're using 10s or 11s or anything like that, that might be quite difficult. And again, that's another thing that the scallop fretboard really helps out with. As the wood between the frets is really curved, you can really get underneath the string and really grab it for that really high 1.5 step bend. As I said, this lick was inspired by an Yngwie song called Baroque and Roll. It has this really awesome part, which sounds a bit like this. Which I think is an awesome sequence of notes. I really like how it jumps from this position to this position. So I've kind of followed that little pattern there to make the lick sliding into the first position, then sliding into the second position, and then just jumping up to a crazy high bend, which is something that Yngwie does all the time. So there you go, there's 5 Yngwie Malmsteen licks that I remember learning, which really transformed my playing, stopped me being just pentatonic, really helped me develop a bit more, develop my speed, develop my picking, everything like that, helped me travel across the fretboard quite a bit. And I think they sound great, and hopefully you guys like them as well. If you did like this video, then please let me know, leave a like, leave a comment, and if you haven't already, then please don't forget to subscribe. So if you did enjoy this video, then please click up here to see another one, over here to subscribe to my channel, and hopefully I will see you in my next video. Thanks for watching.